everybody, blessings and welcome. In this video, we're going to be discussing why women stay in bad relationships so long. So we're going to be discussing women and relationships in this video. But before we take a deep dive into the subject matter, subscribe to my channel. Also share this video, like this video. Also drop a comment if you want to. I do appreciate your support of this channel. Now let's get into the topic of why us women stay in bad relationships so long. Why do we do it? There are many reasons why we do it. And in this video, I'm going to provide 4 reasons why we do it out of many. And so I hope that this video is a blessing to you, whoever's watching it. And I just want to be clear that especially if you're watching my channel, and watching me for the first time is, this is coming from a Christian woman's perspective, just so you know. Okay, so reason number 1, let's dive into reason number 1. We women, we want to fix it. That's why we stay in relationships, bad relationships so long. We are women, ladies, we are the fixers. We are fixers to a fault. It is part of our nature. We want to make things better. We want to change that person. We want to change the situation, and we think that we can fix it all. And guess what? We cannot. So I think that our fixing nature is actually tied into our superpower as women. And I do believe men have superpowers too, but we ladies, we have superpowers, and I don't think we realize the God-given power that we have. And I don't think we value it because many of us can't recognize it. And we live in societies that pretty much devalue women. So I'm going to tell you what that superpower is and why it's tied to us, our need to fix it, especially when things are going bad and we know we should, there's no way to salvage the relationship and we just keep going at it. Women, we have the ability to take something that's existing and make it better. You give a woman a house, she's going to make it a home. You give her a sperm, she's going to give you a baby. And in that, our need to make something better and to enhance it, we get the ability to not just reproduce physically, but, just reproduce in life. We are actually the multipliers. We are the creators. And we don't realize that we have that power. We kind of ignore it. And, we see these instances of supermom and superwoman. In a sense, we sort of are. It's interesting. I was listening to a panel of men talk about women in relationships on some YouTube channel. And the guys were kind of complaining that, quote unquote, I guess this term they got floating around now, the modern woman is, she's taking the jobs and she's outpacing men and she's doing better in school. And he's all statistically factual right now. It's happening. Well, it's because we are taking something that's existed and that we didn't have access to in the past. And we're actually enhancing it and making it better and elevating ourselves up. So they're complaining about something that's actually part of our nature. And I don't think they realize about women. I can go on and on about that, but if men, and that ties into part of the reason why women are devalued in societies, because men don't even realize the good thing that they have. Not all men, but many men don't realize the great value that they have when they connect with a woman, especially and by marrying a woman, is that, hey, you have this great prize here. And she's actually there to help you with your vision and to enhance what you got going on. But if you're approaching a woman and you have no vision and no plan, you're going to get a nagging woman who's going to get on your nerves because you're not giving her anything to work with. So we're good at enhancing and making things better. That's given to us and that we see. And if a man is thinking of marrying a woman and thinking about marriage and family, and he doesn't realize that about the superpower that women have and how she could be a blessing to his life, he should not get married at all. But we want to fix it. And that ties into our nature of enhancing and making things better. We want to fix it. And we stay in these bad relationships because we think that we can change the man, that we could change the situation if I only, dressed a certain way, or cooked this dinner a certain way, or if I was only like so and so, if I only did this for him, if I only did that for him, if I only did these things throughout the relationship, and you go down a whole laundry list, that things would get better, knowing that the relationship is, basically finished and we keep at it. That's one of the reasons why, we stay in relationships so long, because we think we can fix it. And that kind of ties into our nature of wanting to fix things, and it just doesn't work. When it's done, it's done. And any men watching this, when a woman is finished, we're finished. When we're done with something, when we're done with a relationship, we're done. And what that means for us ladies, unfortunately, is that we put up with a whole lot before we say it's over. And we end up, becoming less of who we were, and sometimes a shell of who we were, because we stayed in that bad relationship too long, and we allowed it to chip the goodness and the good qualities away from us. So we want to fix this. That's one of the reasons why we stay in bad relationships so long. Number two, we feel like we can't walk away from the investment and the time and the energy that we put into the relationship. So ladies, most women, not all, for the most part, when we get into a relationship, we put our all in it, and we give so much. We're actually socialized as women in society to give and to be the nurturers and to be the one to do 50 million things. And, we give. Once again, like we try to fix to a fault, we give to a fault, and we invest so much into these relationships. And then there's other things to consider also. In that investment, we have children, right? We just can't walk away from our families. I've known women who have walked away from their children and their families. There are some select women who do it, but for the most part, we don't. We're not the ones who are walking away. And, but we stay in these bad relationships, these situationships, whatever you want to call it, because we felt like, hey, I put so much into this relationship. We have so much history. It's terrible, but I'm going to stick it out, for the sake of the kids. I'm going to stick it out because, to save face, I'm going to stick it out because, this is part of my identity, being the wife, being, by this man's side or whatever. And you just can't walk away from the investment that you put in. And once again, it goes back to what I said earlier, it's to your own demise oftentimes when we stay in these bad relationships. Although you put the time, the energy, and put the resources in, and giving your life to this relationship, and sacrifice your body, especially if you've had kids, that's a sacrifice that many don't realize. Hey, you're literally putting your life on the line, bringing a life into this world, and you say to yourself, hey, I can't just walk away from that. And many women continue to go through the loop, knowing that he's not going to change, knowing that it's not going to get better, and oftentimes it deteriorates and it gets worse, because many women say to themselves, I just can't walk away. And that's the second reason why many of us stay in bad relationships so long. The third reason why we stay in bad relationships so long is that oftentimes, we feel that we can't do any better. Hey, I'm older, I'm not skinny, who's going to want me? Many women, have body issues, with body image and our self-esteem. And especially if you happen to be in a relationship where, you have an abusive partner and someone who is tearing you down. And that also takes a toll on your self-esteem. And, messages that we've gotten from the time we were little girls, from society, and even from our families of origin. If you come from a family where there has been abuse and verbal abuse, or even maybe not something so extreme, but just you come from a family where people have teased you. You may have older siblings. I'm the youngest in my family, and that was a thing in my family. Not to say that I'm scarred, because I got them back with my own, on my own, and I had to figure out a way to defend myself when it came back to the teasing. It was a tit for tat sort of thing, but that was kind of like the thing, the banter in my family, the teasing. And if you had thin skin, which I I believe I had, it could hurt your feelings, even the teasing, so words do scar. And for some of us, that does not roll off of our backs. And we carry these messages with you. Oh, somebody tell you you're fat, or you're ugly, or, you're too dark, or you're too light, or, something about some body part is weird, or nobody ever want you, or you're not smart enough, or you're not good enough, whatever the messages have been from your family of origin. This ties into, and this goes into our marriage relationships, and our most intimate relationships, when we find a partner or a husband or whatever. So it's like this feeling that you can't do any better. And this is why, many of us stay in these bad relationships so long, because we don't think that, hey, nobody else, this is the best that I can do. Some of us even feel like, hey, the guy's doing me a favor by sticking around. What is he doing? Or we don't feel unworthy of love. We feel unworthy of, being in a good, we don't think we could, we deserve better. So we settle with someone who, we're not in a good relationship with, someone who could be abusive, someone who has a hard heart and doesn't respect us. And we deal with a lot because of the self-esteem, and because we don't think we can do better. And I'm here to let you know, if you happen to be in that situation, you're watching this, yeah, you can do better. There's billions of people out in the world. There's someone else for you if this is not working out. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why we stay in a bad relationship so long, because we feel that we cannot do any better. The fourth thing is, this is definitely geared toward those of us in the faith community, is those women of us who are in the faith community, is that your pastor told you to stay. You and your spouse went to pastoral counseling. You went to a Christian counselor, your pastor, your bishop, whoever, and hoping to make, progress in your relationship to help solve whatever relationship issue you're having. And you end up going to counseling, going to your pastor, and feeling worse, or being re-traumatized. So if it's an extreme situation where you are experiencing abuse, and oftentimes, the abuse is not necessarily physical. You don't see the scars on the outside. A lot of times the abuse is verbal, is psychological, is emotional, and the scars are on the inside. And that's what people can't see, right? So you've told your pastor, and I want you to know, ladies, Christian ladies who are watching this, you go to a pastor, you go to a Christian counselor, you go to a brother or sister in Christ, an older Christian couple for counsel. Their job is to make sure you stay in that relationship no matter what. And I personally don't believe in that. But just know that that is going to be their point of view. That is going to be their goal. That is going to be their aim, is that they want you to stay together no matter what. Now, there is, grounds for divorce. God doesn't like it. You see, in the book of Malachi, God says he hates divorce, but there are instances that even Jesus said that, divorce is permitted, in the case of adultery, and Apostle Paul, abandonment. So yeah, there are cases for divorce in the Bible, and God does allow it. But I just want you to know that, in our current climate, in our culture, Christian culture, is that if you go to a pastor, his job is going to, get you to stay together no matter what. And because we are in a patriarchy, and even in the Christian community is this patriarchal system going on, I have problems with that as well. The problem that I have with patriarchy is that it devalues women. And the message is that men are better than women, and which is very problematic. Because if you're in a situation where the pastor is trying to get you to stay, and your husband is beating you, verbally abusing you, he's already violated the covenant. Although it doesn't explicitly say, hey, in case of abuse, Jesus didn't say it explicitly, or the Apostle Paul didn't say explicitly, in case of abuse, that's grounds for divorce, but it's there. Your spouse, your husband, has broken covenant with you, because, the word of God says, when two are joined together, in marriage, you actually become one flesh. So if you have a husband who's beating his wife, He's actually beating himself. You have a husband who's, verbally tearing down his wife. He's actually doing that to himself. And he's actually, we have to remember, ladies, that we are to the image of God. And he's doing that to the image and the representation of God. And he's going to have to answer to God for his actions. But oftentimes we go into these counseling situations, and a lot of the onus and a lot of the blame of why the relationship is going on is actually placed on the woman because of how, the patriarchal setup of, the Christian church, which is problematic because, the problem with that I have with patriarchy is the whole issue of control and dominance. And if Jesus told us to love one another, and specifically husbands to love your wives, if that's the message in the Bible, there is no in love, there is no domination. In love, there is no control. And that's one of the major things that's associated with patriarchy. So that has to be done away with, right? So if a man is to lead, he can't lead by domineering. He can't lead by control. He should be leading with love. And the submission thing has to be a mutual thing. Because both parties have something to bring to the relationship, and both parties are equal in value, although we have different functions and different things that we bring to the relationship, both in the image of God, right? So if a man is the image of God and a woman is the image of God, together we become complete, the complete image, right? So yeah, that's the thing. You go to a pastor, you go to a Christian counselor, they're going to try to get you to stay no matter what. And that's one of the reasons why women continue to stay in bad relationships, because we're listening to the pastor, we're listening to, Christian counselors or whoever, and the elders, and they're telling us to stay. And that's why many times, many women have been destroyed. I have seen it with my own two eyes in church by well-meaning pastors, well-meaning, brothers and sisters in Christ, but they have been destroyed because they were in relationships that they shouldn't have stayed in, and that they should have actually been divorced from. I'm not, a pro-divorce person, but I do believe in certain circumstances that it is necessary circumstance, adultery, abuse, abandonment, and hardness of heart. But that's just my personal stance on the matter. But other than that, outside of those extremes, you should be able to work it out. Hopefully, if you, going back to a video that, I did not so long ago, the reasons, a type of relationship you should not stay in is a relationship where, the person doesn't take any accountability. So if you're in a situation where someone is not taking accountability and, responsibility for what they do in their role and the problem in the relationship, then, you're not going to go anywhere, and your marriage is going to continue, and your relationship is going to continue to deteriorate. But yeah, that's actually number 4 is actually a big one. Your pastor told you to stay. So ladies, those are the reasons why, we want to fix it. We can't walk away from the investment. We feel that we can't do any better. Your pastor, even your family members may chime in and, try to get you to stay in that relationship. We stay for other reasons too, financial reasons. It could be financially devastating if you left. It could, have a terrible impact on the children. But, if we're not well in relationships, and the relationship is bad, that situation is not going to change. It's going to end up just destroying us and picking away at the best of who we are, and we'll exit or, end up at the end not fulfilling the purpose that God has for our lives. The purpose of a relationship is not for you to feel bad in it. It's for you to grow and to develop in that relationship. That is the goal, right? That is especially of the marriage covenant, is to for you to grow spiritually, and you to grow as a woman and as a person, and to be a better woman, to be a better wife, to be a better mom. And that's where you should be at. But if you're finding yourself in a relationship where you can't be the best that you can be, you're in an environment that is literally destroying you, it can't be sustained. So those are the reasons why I believe women stay in bad relationships so long. If you happen to be in a situation and you're watching this video, you definitely have to consider getting out, because that bad relationship can't be sustained for long. I do wish you happiness, joy, and peace. Remember to stay in the Lord, stay connected to Him, stay close to Him, and let Him be the center of your life, and that will improve every relationship in your life. That's all I wanted to share with you in this video. Take care, God bless, and I will see you in the next one.